Hi, I am Jennifer Rowland, owner of Crossroads Literacy, and I offer the Advanced Dyslexia Training course that is an opportunity for you to take once you've completed Kara Lee's introductory training, dyslexia training course. Let me tell you a little bit more about the course. Your next opportunity to take it is going to be January 2024. It will go through the school year, the remainder of that school year, and into and almost through the entire next school year. We are requiring a maximum of at least 6 participants in order for the class to occur. So this is a great opportunity for you to continue your journey. You've already been working with students and you realize they're starting to get some of the basics. There is a lot more that needs to be covered. With the introductory training course, we focused primarily on phonemic and phonological awareness, phonics, and there was a little fluency scattered in there too. But as you can see by the 5 pillars of reading, there's a lot more work to be done. So with the advanced dyslexia training, you, the trainee, will continue with your practicum student or with a new practicum student, diving deeper into phonics, more fluency, also vocabulary and comprehension strategies. As far as more advanced phonics instruction, this actually came right out of the concept manual that I built. You can see that you're going to hit more vowel teams like diphthongs, ow, with the spelling OU and OW. You can also see we go deeper into the reading concept itself and spelling concepts. We'll be getting more into spelling formulas. There are examples and definitions also. The last one, number 43, you can see they learn the AR and OR make the sounds in an unaccented syllable. Although not regular for spelling, it's important for students to understand that particular grapheme and have an opportunity to practice reading it. I have a few other pages where you can see some of the concepts that we cover. We get into the dropping rule and the doubling rule, which you most likely didn't have an opportunity to do both of those in your first year with your introductory student. We also get into more vowel teams that are not quite as common as some that are typically introduced in the introductory year. Scribal O, like O being introduced before an M, N, or V, often makes the sound It has a little interesting history and background there. And then you can see we're getting a teeny bit into some of our French influences, like shun, jean, ch, making the sound sh in our French layer of language, and in Greek, the ch making the sound k, for example. The last two, number 67 and 68, you can see we work on more of those French stable endings that children are going to see a lot as they continue to get older and are more exposed to multi-syllables. And I think this is my last page, but then you can see 71, 72, we have some additional French stable endings that students will be exposed to for their reading. So advanced morphology is something we focus on a lot in this advanced year. The layers of English are comprised primarily of 3 different influences. We had Old English, and that was before William the Conqueror in 1066, when he really brought in the French layer of language, which of course came from the Latin. So we hit deeper Anglo-Saxon concepts. I teach you how to use the Latin roots that we have in English and also Greek combining forms. Here's an example of a chart that we use for you to have more information about those 3 letters of language to help you and your students better understand about 70% of our language. Because so far in the introductory year, you've only covered 15 to 20% of the words that we actually have in English. More with advanced morphology, we look at some matrices. We do more with word sums, like Kara does in the introductory year. This, of course, also supports vocabulary acquisition. And there's additional information I share with you for ways to implement more vocabulary. Fluency is hit much heavier in this advanced year. We dive deeper just into fluency itself and ways to support them in their independent and instructional levels. I also introduce you to a couple of different curricula that you and your district may purchase if you're so interested in providing additional Tier 2 support and deeper Tier 3 support. Also, we really get into deeper spelling concepts and strategies. You're going to be using formulas for spelling. There's an example with final S. There's 4 different ways to spell it. And you and your students will learn why we spell with an SS versus a CE, etc. We also hit written expression quite heavily in this advanced year. You'll be purchasing Diana Hanbury King's Writing Skills, Book 1, and this is a wonderful resource for you to really get into some expressive writing with your students. I've used this for years with a variety of individual and group settings for students who do struggle with the written word, and it's laid out beautifully. And I've had a lot of success with my students in working through this book, so you too will become familiar with it and have an opportunity to work with your students. We also dive deeper into some comprehension strategies. We talk about assessment. You will have a better understanding of what is given for dyslexia screeners or for a diagnosis of dyslexia itself. We look at a variety of the most common assessments that are given for that purpose. We do some discussions about like bell curves and standard deviations. We look at a flow chart for a dyslexia screener to help you to better understand how to interpret that data. Take a peek at a couple of students, their scores, and what it means to us for our diagnostic and prescriptive building of those lesson plans. So you will complete all assigned reading and homework. We participate in 36 instructional course hours with me. You will complete a minimum of 45 hours of clinical practicum. That means 45 hours working with your practicum student. You will have 3 recorded lesson observations that I will watch to provide feedback to you, and you will receive a certificate of completion that can be applied towards your teacher certification hours and the CEs that ALTA requires for those of you who have become a CALP. You also may possibly be invited for an additional year of training to become a national instructor of certified academic language practitioners. There are also optional graduate credit hours that you may purchase through Ashland University, and there's 3 total of those if you so choose. So some specifics then. Here's the schedule for the next advanced training, which would begin January of 2024. We have some synchronous learning occurring there. We'll have 2 days of in-person, probably in the Columbus area, and then an additional synchronous online situation the following school year, August, September, November. And so we get through all of the material by then, but you still have several months and most of the remainder of that school year to implement what we've talked about and for me to watch your observations. Again, we have to have at least 6 people interested in taking this course in order for it to happen in January. Otherwise, there will be another offering to start in the summer, in June of 2024. Here are the materials that are going to be provided to you on the left, and you're going to have to purchase a couple of books. You're going to buy the Multisensory Teaching of Basic Language Skills activity book, the 4th edition, and you will be purchasing the Diana Hanbury King Writing Skills workbook. All of this totals under $60 for both of those. And then about your practicum student, you may continue working with the student that you've been working with for your introductory year, or you may choose another if there's somebody else in your school that you would feel would really benefit from these advanced skills. I'm going to be giving you guidelines on what these students should already be accomplishing so you can implement some of these advanced skills. So that's something we discuss once you've had some training and you're ready to work with that student. The requirements are a little less stringent than they were for your introductory year because you will not be earning additional credentials through ALTA. Yes, you will have hours for the CE that can be applied for this particular year, but you're not going to become, your CALP status will not change. So yeah, like the introductory year, you're encouraged to work with your student a minimum of 2 times a week, up to 5 times per week, for a minimum of 100 minutes. Weekly is my preference there. But you're going to have a little more wiggle room with your student. In fact, I am encouraging my advanced trainees to even try to work with their student 3 times a week. That consistency, that clarity is really important. And since you're comfortable building your lesson plans, hopefully you'll have extra time to actually speak. So, thank you so much for your time. For additional information or to get on the waiting list, go ahead and contact me at info@crossroadsliteracy.com. And I will be in touch with you and really look forward to seeing you as you continue your journey, supporting your students and in making yourself more knowledgeable. So I thank you very much for your time.